to your dealer now for the Power and Performance Sales Event. Get up to 7 years of Yamaha warranty protection free, or earn up to $200 in dealer credit. Yamaha Power and Performance has never been a better value.
The Fishing News is sponsored by these fine partners.
I don't want to work. I want to bang on the drum all day. Very first one of the year, a 45-pound black drum weighed in here in Atlantic City. Banging. That's what Noel says here at One Stop Bait and Tackle. Banging drum, just like Todd Rundgren. I'm Jim Hutchinson, chief instigator here at the New Jersey Delaware Bay edition of the Fisherman magazine. It's March 21st. Spring has officially sprung, clearly by this catch for 14-year-old Delenis De La Rosa, who reeled in this monster somewhere around the Atlantic City area on Saturday while fishing with the whole fam Damley. His dad, David, of course, he checked in one of the very first striped bass in New Jersey back on March 2nd here at One Stop Bait and Tackle. Now, over the weekend at the Saltwater Fishing Expo in Edison, New Jersey, I showed the picture that Noel posted of the black drum. I showed it to Greg at Fisherman's headquarters. He said, "Dude, I told you. I saw the gnats the other day." There you go. That's what he said to a coworker. So yeah, I guess with the warm weather last week, the biting flies are out. And yeah, ostensibly the black drum now filtering in through Atlantic City into the back areas, lakes, Great Bay, Little Lake Harbor perhaps, and of course all around Brigantine. I know the black drum bite really starts to get into full gear down on Delaware Bay in May and June. That's when all those charters are operating, but I've had some pretty good luck in this area in April. And I'll tell you, talking to Noel here at the shop, he says things are about 3 weeks, 4 weeks ahead of schedule as it is. Folks online asking at YouTube, is it worth hitting the open beaches for fish? This is the scene from Atlantic City the other day. Noel shared this one. Gannets diving off of Atlantic City. We shared this same video, similar video last week. The gannets are diving on bunker, on herring, who knows what it is. But if you're going to make that 4-hour trip back and forth from Pennsylvania someplace to New Jersey, I don't know, things are definitely on the uptick at both sides, both the top and bottom edges of New Jersey, and who knows, along the outer beaches as well at some point very soon. Suffice to say, New Jersey is assuredly a place that anyone throughout the Northeast, Ohio, Pennsylvania, they want to visit. New Jersey. We've got shad on the Delaware, black drum locally, Delaware Bay, stripers in the oceans, bays, and rivers, and soon enough, summer flounder, black sea bass, and blackfish. Atlantic City. Folks come here from far and wide, all over the world. It is a city. It's a fishing town with a little bit of a gambling problem. Noel Feliciano runs One Stop Bait and Tackle. You got to come check it out because this is a grand reopening celebration here. Noel has been next door on the south side of this building for a long time and has just gone through a top to bottom, side to side, up and down, all over the place, redesign of the entire shop. Yeah, you can get your baits here. Yeah, Noel says he's getting bunker from down on Delaware Bay, where his netter down there on Delaware Bay says the bay is loaded with stripers already. I was just hearing him on the clam, working on the phone trying to get clams. So yeah, the drummer in, he's got to start getting the clams. You got to come check it out. North end of Atlantic City, historic fishing location up at this end. You're just about a quarter mile, I think, north of the Showboat if you're coming in on Route 30. But you got to come in here, again, 3 to 4 weeks ahead of schedule, everything. We had a mild winter, and who knows when things really start to turn on in this inlet, on the Absecon Inlet, and throughout our back bays and systems. Striped bass, they're getting bigger, and yeah, they're on the move. I'm getting texts from whereabouts unknown, but I believe these are North Coast fish right now that are beginning to whack plugs. Speaking with Phil at the Tackle Box in Hazlitt, I saw him over the weekend at the Saltwater Fishing Expo. He came in and looked around, nobody was on. He said, last night, this was Sunday, last night they were boiling on metal lip swimmers. So the night creepers are getting on some of those fish already. So for sure the plug-in is underway throughout the Garden State. Some sizable fish on the pre-spawn up the Delaware as well at this point. It would seem the bloodwormers of New Jersey's west coast along the Delaware, of course. Typically it's getting into April when we see some of these jumbos being caught and released. Casters like Brandon Overstreet here, though, already putting some of the big girls back in the water, putting the big catch and releases on the board from along that stretch of the Delaware. Now that's the way to hold a fish too, Brandon. He's got it textbook. One hand on the jaw, the other hand on the belly. You want to brace those fish to set them back into the rivers as quickly as possible. Noel and I were speaking about it before. There's certainly a spawning population of stripers heading into the Mullica, up the Great Egg as well. But of course we are pre-spawn feeding, staging stripers at this point along the Delaware. That action is getting ready to blow up, and of course the Raritan Bay as well. So you want to keep these fish wet. You're releasing the big girls. Do your very best to get a quick photo and get them back in the water. Again, spawning season, stripers set to make their way up the Delaware and the Hudson. They're already up the upper stretches of the Chesapeake. We've got a catch and release fishery for all those big fish that are arriving. You are gunning for that 28 to 31 inch fish. One fish, 28 to 31 inches in the state of New Jersey, everywhere. If you want to keep one for the table, and of course, the New Jersey Striped Bass Bonus Program will be back in action sometime later on this spring. I will let you know. Don't forget, with these big release fish, take down the barbs as much as possible, swap out those trebles for your inlines, get back into the action quicker, and save your hands and fingers from getting hooked. So what's in your plug bag for the spring? That's the big question. I could see some favorites up here, my friends. Jenny Ackerman and I worked the Saltwater Fishing Expo together this past weekend. That was the question that she had posed for vendors and folks visiting the Fisherman booth for a sneak peek at what everyone's throwing this spring. Let's go open boat with Jenny Ackerman from the floor of the Saltwater Fishing Expo.
Hey everyone, welcome to this week's Open Boat, episode 40. We're at the Edison Saltwater Expo, and we have our first guest on the spring run lures. So introduce yourself here and what you got.
Hi Jenny, my name is Tom. I'm from Ewing, New Jersey, and these are some of the lures that we use for trolling stripers in the tributaries.
Okay, so what do you got? You got
I got a bottlenose
and
a Rapala Super Shad Wrap.
Nice.
I've taken my biggest striper to date, 40 pounds on this last year.
There you go.
And we've taken a number of 30, 35 pounders on both of these lures.
Can't beat that. All right, we got another open boater here that wants to share his intel on his favorite spring run lure.
My name's Rich, and my favorite springtime lure of all time is the dock or a spook.
Familiar face here if you watched the worm ball video. We were at the tackle box booth with Dan Stahl. Now Dan's going to tell us his favorite spring run lure.
The Monomoy spook.
Oh boy, got one at the tackle box.
Yeah, get one today.
All right, now we found a wild Scott. We're going to ask him what his favorite spring run lure is.
Oh, that would probably be the Ozuri McDarter.
It's in fact tattooed on his body.
That may be true.
All right, now we're with local legend Pedro. Pedro, what's your favorite spring run lure?
So my favorite lure for spring run striper fishing in the back bay and surf is probably going to be the 4-inch Tsunami Shads. These are the heavy version, but my favorite color is a pearl spot, just because in the spring now, you know, you're going to be fishing in the back bays. It's still, the water temperatures are still a little cold, so you're going to be throwing small baits and small lures. So definitely the 4-inch Shad's going to be a winner. You know, later in the season I'll be throwing the 5, 6, and 7 inches, but it's going to definitely be the Tsunami Swim Shad. That's my old
Winner chicken dinner. Thank you, Pedro. Now we're with Justin Time. Justin, your favorite spring run lure?
It's got to be a popper, because watching a striper hit topwater is the best thing around.
Can't beat that. All right, next up I found some more local surf rots.
Brett of Shamong.
I'm Dale from Browns Mills.
What lures are you guys throwing this spring run? Top spring run lures?
5-inch bone mag darter all day.
Black and purple mega shads, baby. Come on.
There you go. Another open boater here at the booth.
Hi, my name is Mike Garcia, and my favorite springtime striper lure is the Tidal Pro Tsunami Tidal Pro.
got local legend Captain Eric Gerber of On a Mission Fishing Adventures, and he's going to spill the beans on his favorite spring run lure.
The Chug Norris from Nomad.
Oh yeah. I got a current fisherman right here. He's talking about his favorite spring run lure.
Hi, my name is Lucas, and my favorite lure is very hydro minnow.
Can't beat a Yozuri hydro minnow. Watch out for this little Lucas out here on the surf. He's already crushing stripers, right?
Yep.
Next up we got Sam here.
Hi, my name is Sam, and I like to use no live bait needed for stripers in the spring.
Next up, short catch charters here. We got Elio.
Hi, my name is Elio. My favorite spring run lure would be a big metal lip plug.
We got
Ryan, and my favorite lure is Missouri hydro minnow.
Another big fan of the hydro minnow, slaying fish out here on them.
Thank you.
All right, now we're here with Thomas, master rod builder at E-Fishing Custom Rods, and your favorite spring run lure is?
NLBN paddle tail.
That's been a hot one this open boat run through, and we're gonna go get some more, so let's go. Now we got Rosetto Stone here.
How you doing? I'm Dan Rosetto.
What's your favorite spring run lure?
I like using flounder swimmers on the day. It's fun.
Eddie Brown from Just Saying.
Favorite spring bass lure?
Favorite spring bass lure would definitely be the dock.
Now we got another legend, Captain Chuck with the timing. What's your favorite spring run lure?
Definitely my favorite spring run lure is a live eel.
For more than 20 years, anglers everywhere have come to know one thing, that nothing says no to fish bites.
Hey, congratulations to James M. Ross of Warwick, New York, our Sterling Prize winner from the Saltwater Fishing Expo. James, you will be getting an email from Steve at Sterling about your sweatshirt and your wide tracker, so keep an eye out on that email. Shad action got underway as well. Again, it's another one that it's right around the middle of March, end of March, but on Thursday started getting our first reports of solid shad action. Kevin Ingram from Shadilac Lures reported 7 on the lower Delaware River last Thursday morning while fishing with fellow shad nut Bill Gordon. Kevin said the water temperature on the Delaware where he was fishing was up around 48 degrees by 6 p.m. on Thursday. So shad are definitely on the move. You can learn more about Kevin's Shadilac Lures in that March edition of the Fisherman magazine. Check out Captain Jimmy Frieda's article. He fished with Dieter Scheel, Big D guide service, catching some of those Delaware River shad. It is a tradition. Hopefully you picked up a copy of that March edition either here in Atlantic City a couple of weeks ago or at the Saltwater Fishing Expo. And if you're not a subscriber, well, I would encourage you to do so. We are the one magazine out there, have been since 1972, dedicated to New Jersey fishing. News, information, the politics of fishing, how to, where to, it's all in that edition of the Fisherman magazine. Now, for more information on the arrival of shad and what everybody else is catching on the freshwater scene, let's check in with my friend George, the Pocono Outdoors Guy.
Well, hey, Jim, you know, it just goes to show, last week, right after we had released our report at noon on Thursday, well, the light switch turned on, the shad season opened in full swing. We had those temperatures up in the 70s. The river warmed up a little bit, and the shad started biting like crazy up and down the river. We had a couple of people check in, like Tim Keebler. Of course, he was always on them. Even folks like Kevin Ingram checked in. They were getting shad. Other folks up the river, like Rusty Held up there in the eastern area, he was getting into shad as well. So I think with the bite turned on, I think it was going good for a few days. Of course, this colder weather come in earlier this week, and it may dampen things a little bit. But I think as long as we keep the temperatures not too low too long, we should be okay, and there's no prolonged rains kick in washing those things downstream. I think we'll be in much better position to keep the shad bite going on into the next few weeks. Also, quite a few things picking up. John Ost checked in. He was getting some smallmouth up on the Susquehanna River, some real chunky ones there as well. So still a good bite on smallmouth. Also Frank Bish, he was up getting some largemouth, working those shallows up here in the Poconos as well. Also Rusty Talamentez, well, he checked in. He was out there fishing the Lower Conestoga River, and he was getting into a really nice PB Smalley. He picked that up on a Z-Man tube, and that was real successful. And he said he caught a bunch more too, about 9 of them on that bait. So lots of great smallmouth fishing there. Good friends Scott Carmella and Ken Reese, well, they're about there fishing my home lake of Beltsville, and they were actually getting into a couple of really nice fish. Scott landed accidentally, of course, a 25-inch brown trout caught and released, and Kenny managed to get himself a nice 26-inch striper that was released as well. But it looks like a really good day out on Beltsville. Other folks, Chris Matchison checked in. He was out fishing the delayed harvest area down in Chester County, and he goes into non-stop action with trout, with browns, rainbows, and even some brookies. So some real good action down there. Of course, the regular season does not open until April 6th, but there are a few areas you can still fish right now with artificials only. Now, finally, I was out with my good friend Josh Taylor. You know, Josh called me up and says, George, we're starting to get some stripers here in Beltsville. Why don't you swing around? We'll get out in the boat. And sure enough, both of us got into some fish there. So some good fishing picking up in Beltsville. Lots of great fishing everywhere, guys. There's just too much to list here. Almost everybody loaded up my inbox this week with fish. So thank you very much for all the feedback, and we'll catch you next time. But from Pennsylvania, I'm George, your Pocono Outdoors Guy.
Winter flounder at the Jersey Shore, not necessarily down here in Atlantic City, but certainly to the northern part of the Garden State. I've been sharing some specifics from online, thefisherman.com. You go to species, you select winter flounder, give you some tactical awareness, tactical details, the techniques, the baits you need to catch some winter flounder from shore. But the first one I saw reported this 2024 season was last Wednesday night. Gabriel Tackle and Brick had blackfish dug by the shop with a nice 18-inch winter flounder that he caught on bloodworm. Now hopefully you can launch your skiff or center console the upper stretches of Barnegat Bay, maybe someplace behind LBI. Chum heavily, my friends. It's going to take plenty of chum. You want to bring in those winter flounder to the slick, and you can also do it from shore. The folks at Fisherman's Den in Belmar say the folks have been giving it as much effort as they possibly can along those bulkheads as well. So you do have shore-bound options. Like I said, starting behind LBI, down we used to fish around the bridge there around Hochstrassers and all the way up some of the back areas behind Seaside, behind Bayhead, the canal perhaps. Now that's where one of the things that I'm hearing, we have 11 days to go until Blackfish reopens, right? Tog will open up on April 1st. Some of the guys that are catching winter flounder now using bloodworms are hooking up with some blackfish on some of those jetties and some of the piers, some of the railings where they are fishing. So that's a good sign. April 1st comes, that's when our for-hire fleet is going to be going hog wild. Everybody's going to be back in business between striped bass and toe tog on these wrecks. But with these indications that some of these fish are back here already, it might be pretty good right from the get-go for guys who are trying to do a little bit of shore-bound targeting of those blackfish. Like I said, 11 days until Blackfish reopens in the Garden State. At this point, boats like the Big Jamaica and the Paramount out of Manasquan, they're sailing east in search of cod and ling. And hopefully one of these days, at some point very soon, porgy will be back in play. Whether these boats pressing offshore or finding those scup piled up outside in the offshore grounds, I don't know. But this week, online, I saw the 2024 marine regulations are being posted and shared with everybody. This came up from someplace in the Division of Fish and Wildlife's website. I will tell you this. If you look at that guide, it says the porgy is now open. The problem is that the folks in New Jersey released this before Sean, look at me, La Tourette, got a chance to sign on those regulations. So they still haven't been signed off. All right, so yeah, Fluke is going to start on May 4th. It's going to be 3 at 18 inches, the minimum size for most of New Jersey. We know that's going to be in place. But as soon as La Tourette gets off his butt and signs the paperwork, we could start fishing for porgy as well. The folks in New Jersey said this is just paperwork. It needs to be signed. It will be any day. They're going to let me know as soon as everything becomes official here in the Garden State. Now this weekend, a few events to tell you about in the Garden State. Saturday, March 23rd, you have the 28th annual Rahway Spring Fishing Flea Market. That's going to be held from 9 until 2 at St. Thomas Hall at 1400 St. George's Avenue in Rahway. Admission is $5. For adults, kids 12 and under are free. If you want some more information about that, you go to fishingfleamarkets.com. Easy peasy. Up at the Ramsey Outfitters, they're hosting their 3rd annual Fly Fest event on Saturday, March 23rd, 10 a.m. till 4 p.m. Free seminars, how-to workshops, fly tying workshops. If you want to get geared up for fly fishing in the Garden State, that's at the original Ramsey location, Ramsey Outfitters, 835 Route 17 South. If you want some more information, call them, 201-327-8141. Also, Saturday, March 23rd, the Tupperware Navy Fishing and Kayak Swap Meet. Bring your new and used fishing and kayaking gear out to start the swap. It starts at 10 a.m. It's at Great Bay Outfitters, 955 Radio Road in Tuckerton. Admission is $3. You can also visit TupperwareNavy.org. Now, here in the Atlantic City area, the Atlantic City Saltwater Anglers, the Atlantic City Saltwater Anglers Club of Atlantic City, they're hosting an annual fishing flea market on Saturday from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., but that's over on the mainland. What do you say? That's offshore from here. That's going to be at the Elks Lodge. That's at 1815 Summers Point Road in Egg Harbor Township. Admission is $5. If you want some information on that, contact Leon at 609-994-7453. All this information, by the way, is in that March edition of the Fisherman magazine. Now, I would remind you, most trout-stocked waters in the Garden State are now officially closed. In the lead-up 16 days until the April 6th opener of trout season in New Jersey, also in Pennsylvania. I believe Delaware is fully open that Sunday, April 7th, so we're just a couple of weeks out from that. I'll have more information as we come up on that event. Of course, the big kids event up in Spring Lake. I'll be out there for that event. I love that. Don't forget, too, the entire state is stocked, South, Central, and North Jersey. For more details on that, our April edition of the Fisherman magazine is coming out next week. And we will have our trout stocking update from the wild man himself, Tom P. When that edition hits newsstands next week, I love the cover. I can't share it just yet, but as a former NFL great, holding up a striped bass that he caught and released. And yeah, you know I'm going to be showing my Eagles colors when it comes to that. Don't forget, you will need to be registered to fish the marine waters in the Garden State. Go to saltwaterregistry.nj.gov. Go over to the right of the page. There's another little register button. You can click there. Go through. You have to do it every year. It's free. Anywhere you're fishing coastal waters in the United States, you're going to have to get a registration or a license. Here in New Jersey, it's free. saltwaterregistry.nj.gov. And while you're there and you're registered, make sure that you get your freshwater fishing license and that trout stamp so you can take advantage of all the incredible work that these guys at the Division of Fish and Wildlife are doing, guys and gals, to stock our local waterways with rainbow trout. I love New Jersey. I'm not going to lie. I'll defend our incredible fishery until my dying breath, and all the anglers and all the businesses. This is a great state for fishing, and as Noel said, we are just 3 weeks off of getting it in. I mean, usually 3 weeks, right? Black drum. I'm telling you, black drum. We're almost in mid-April at this point. It's only March 21st. So get off of Farcebook, get off of TikTok, get off the couch, and get out there and fish. And I wish you the very best of luck when you're doing so. Make sure when you're fishing the north end of Atlantic City, stop by and see Noel, One Stop Bait and Tackle. Come take a look at the brand new shop. It's clean for now until the fish start getting dragged through here and all the clams and guts start going through, but you got to come check it out. It's It's got a great selection. Catch him up. I hope to see you out there, maybe even this weekend.